I'm Aiah.
I'm Javada. It's your girl Naj.
It's your girl Taylor. You are now listening to the Girlfriends Podcast.
You are now listening to the Girlfriends Podcast. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
This is Aiah.
Javada's over here.
And we have special guest Kaila Bay.
Hi. Round of applause. Claps for Kaila.
Claps for Kaila. Kaila went to NC State with me and Javada.
Okay.
And she's also my beloved line sister.
Yes, beloved.
Yes. Okay, and then we also have another special guest who's not necessarily a guest because she's always here. She's just like a part of GFP. She just be behind the scenes. We have the lovely Chadae.
Hey.
And today, Naj has been working a 12-hour shift. She has to go on for another 12-hour shift, so she wasn't able to make it. And Taylor's just having some quality time with her mom. So we're just gonna have fun today with our ladies. We're talking about surviving R. Kelly. If y'all watched it.
I did not, so this is going to be an interesting conversation to just listen in on.
Yeah, and then of course we're going to talk about sexual abuse because that is relevant in regards to his situation. And finally we're going to wrap it up with this millennial tour, whatever, B2K, because I got some shit to say. Y'all really tried it. Y'all really tried it.
Does that say I can't hear? Or am I tripping?
Oh, someone said, oh no, you can't hear. Let me try to fix that. Okay, well, I'm about to get into the live.
Yes.
Chadae, you watched it. So do you want to kind of briefly talk about what you saw in it yesterday and the day before?
Okay, so it was a lot of women just coming up and just speaking on their experience with R. Kelly and how they encountered him and how he approached them. And also talked about people that used to work for him as well. They came up and they were like, I noticed whenever I went to a party, I would see some girls would be naked and like he had like bedrooms in the studio.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was.
Wait, what?
They said that he had
Can
like
you
one
still not
particular
hear
bedroom
us?
in the middle of the studio, and girls used to stay there, and of course the typical that what we've already heard. They brought up the whole Aiah thing, and when they got married, and just how everybody was just like, oh, it's okay because she's a little mature for her age anyways, and how they try to like brush it under the rug, but it's like it's been going on for a while. What else did they talk about? Also, of course, his ex-wife came up again, but I had my opinions on that as well. So
I just saw this video this morning with Najwa. She had posted something.
When was that?
I don't know. I'm interested in knowing when that was. There was a whole video of her singing. She said, "It's my baby daddy song," and she's sitting up there singing R. Kelly song with her husband in the car or whatever. So
yeah, in regards to Andrea, like I'll touch on that in a second. Yeah. But what I will say is like just based on that first episode or two, they were saying like with him, even when he started to get slowly but surely become famous, he would always be at the school, like at the high school, even though he dropped out I think his senior year to pursue his music, but even like after those years he still would hang around the high school and like pick up high school girls. Javada, why are you laughing?
Yeah, they said like him and a group of guys just like come up on like in a car and then like girls just.
Okay, so I'm laughing. I know it's inappropriate, but I'm laughing because every time we have this R. Kelly conversation, I think back to on the Shade Room. This is maybe like a year or two ago. They put up this Throwback Thursday post of R. Kelly that was like super trifling, like put a cape on it. So what it is, it's him performing somewhere. It's super 90s, so he's got the silky shirt, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And R. Kelly likes to do his little vocal breaks where he like sing talks.
Yeah.
Okay, so he does his little "Who's coming home with me?"
Oh yeah,
you see what I'm talking about? This motherfucker is like, all you gotta do is be 18. Ooh. Mind you that there's someone like behind him holding up a sign that says like 18 plus. Wow. This is like a live performance. Like this like really happened somewhere. Like there's a whole crowd, and I'm just like,
how old was this?
This was, it had to be maybe like 96, 95. Like, it was still bald R. Kelly, like bump and grind.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
Well, little did they know was he was going and grabbing
It's
chicks
all
that
right
were 14.
there.
Like, the thing is, he was literally. Let me just give you a backstory, because his brothers were on there too, and they were pretty much saying like he was really shy and timid when he was younger, and then one of them ended up revealing that. Well, he revealed in an interview a long time ago. No, R. Kelly himself revealed in an interview a long time ago that he was molested multiple times as a child, and so I thought to myself, like, the shit that he's done or you know
that could have started it.
I feel like it probably is rooted from there. Him being molested as a 6-7-year-old probably translated into this need to have control and pursue younger girls, because that's kind of like how he was done. It doesn't justify his behavior, because like I said, it's disgusting. Right. But when you try to like,
it makes sense. I don't know if that's the right way to
figure out like why the fuck are you so obsessed with teenage girls? When you hear about that, you're like, oh, okay, this is probably where it may have begun.
But my thing, like, I guess my question is too, like, I totally get why so many celebrities are like, they don't want to touch this topic. Like, I totally get it. But I'm like, okay, so now, is it teenage girls or is it just like young girls? Because I know some of them are like 21, like 20, 22. So, you know, now that he's gotten old, like, that's my thing.
Well, I was telling Kayla last night that I saw one girl who had an interview where she just kind of like told her story, and she was maybe like 18, 19 when she met him. Mm-hmm. And he kept, like, once they got involved, he just kept asking her, you sure you're not like 14? It was almost like she was like, it felt like he wanted me to be younger, and I just was not. And she was like, even everyone consistently says that with R. Kelly, like, they thought they were the only one. Then he kind of introduced another girl, and then it became like multiple girls. One girl even stated that when she got involved with him, she met him at 17. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if it was his studio, his place they went to, and he was like, you know, I really want to try this. This will be my first time having a threesome. Like, if you love me, you'll accept me for who I am. And this little quote-unquote 16-year-old comes out the bathroom, and they have this threesome, and she was like, the girl seemed way more experienced. She kind of like knew what to do, and I was like, you know, for this to just be your neighbor that you just met, it seemed like she was well-versed in what to do with you during the sexual encounter. And
like with him specifically.
With him specifically. And she said, and later on, she found out this girl was actually 14 years old.
Wow. And
it made her sick. But my thing is him being 30 plus, being involved with I'm sorry, a 17-year-old. When we were younger and we looked at 17-year-olds, we thought, dang, they're older. Like Kayla was saying, like, dang, they're older. We got to 17 and we're like, dang, 20-somethings are older. When you look back, a 17-year-old is still a child.
An 18-year-old is a child.
Let alone a fucking 14-year-old. So
that's an adolescent.
It's just disgusting.
It's like barely gone through puberty.
Right.
So, like, what are your views, or what's your stance as far as R. Kelly goes?
I do feel like for a long time they have let him get away with certain things, even as far as that, like, there was literally physical evidence of him pissing in a child's mouth, and he got away with it. So I do agree with the people in the documentary saying that he probably feels like he's above the law at this point, because even in him getting married to freaking Aiah, something should have happened then, and everyone just kind of turned a blind eye. I don't agree with it. Like I said, I think it's disgusting. I feel like he needs to, yeah, he really does. But I don't know. It's really on us, because for all these years we've made excuses for him.
That's true.
And we've said, oh, well, his music is so good, I'm not going to stop listening to him off of rumors. And there are so many women who have given their accounts of what has happened to them. And it's kind of unfair to see that, like, I mean, it just goes back to rape culture. You know, people speak up, and they feel like they can't speak up because they're not going to be believed. And essentially, this is what has been going on for 20 plus years.
I think that's the scariest part about it.
Yeah.
Like, what if it's still going on? Like,
they say it is.
Yeah.
I
like if you've been doing it this long, you probably still are doing it. So.
Talking to the mic, sis.
Oh God, no. But no, I'm just saying, like,
Talking to the mic, sis. You
That was so dramatic.
You gotta get close up on it.
But I'm just saying, like, I feel like if it's been going on this long, then what's it like? Why wouldn't it be still going on? And he hasn't been reprimanded for it, so you know, why stop now?
But I think that and like I said, I'm not for R. Kelly. Like, you know, what he's doing whatever.
Right.
You know. But I will say, I think it's like the whole mindset of how he's doing it is almost like incredible, if that makes sense.
What
Like,
do you
it's
mean?
just like,
Well, I don't know
like,
what we mean.
So he's taking these girls this young, like that young, knowing that they just hit puberty, probably still have their virginity.
Yeah.
So he's taking them young and he's like training them, showing them, this is what I want you to do, this is how I want you to do it. So then, of course, being that young and then losing your virginity, then you see this person as like an idol, like, oh my gosh, like he really likes me, you know. It's like then they start getting caught up in, you gonna call me daddy. Okay, I'll call you daddy. And it's like, even you don't understand, like there's some girls even after when they leave, they still refer to him as daddy. Like even after all the things they've done to them, only because that's what they've been.
Stockholm syndrome.
That's exactly that's the perfect term. That's exactly what it seems like. And
It's scary.
It's also like, and I know Naj wishes she was here because she was talking about too, like, yes, what R. Kelly has done is disturbing. She said, however, for me as a teenager, I would not have put myself in those situations. Like, I wouldn't try to involve myself with a grown man. She was like, and so, yes, they're young, 14, 15, 16, 17. She was like, but everyone has to have some level of common sense. And, like, she was like, she noticed that with all of them, when they tell their stories, they knew it was wrong, but they still did it anyway. And it was like, I don't know, like, this is my big break. So if he wants to kiss me or he wants to have sex with me, or
but I think that even
have a threesome,
digs deeper into something like, the whole casting couch thing that they talk about, like in the entertainment industry. I think it even kind of goes back to that, which is a whole nother issue to unpack. So.
Right. That's true.
But then you also think about the parents as well.
Right.
Because there's some of those girls, you can't use, single parent household, or they weren't there. Because there are some of them that have both
teenagers
parents
are
in the household.
sneaky.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That too, but it's like, when you're in, like, I'm not a parent, so I can't really say.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, if your child is gone for like 5 days on end, you can't assume, she's at
14,
she's at Susie's house. Oh no,
Right,
you come
right.
home. Like, when I was 14,
The street lights come on, you better be inside.
Exactly. Like, when I was 14, I was not going over. I was not spending the night anywhere. Like, I would come back, and I was like, my mom, drop me off at the movie theater, come right back. So it's like, even if they knew about R. Kelly, what makes you think I'm going to drop my 14-year-old off to you? I don't care if this is business or not. Like, I'm going to make sure I'm there 24/7.
That's true.
Like,
Exactly.
That's true.
So
not blaming the parents, but at the same time, it's like
it does
play a role in that. And then when that child's by themselves, they don't. Some kids just don't know. They're like, okay, well, maybe this is up. Even though
kids,
it's just
the kids can be easily manipulated.
Well, maybe you kiss me a little bit, maybe it won't be that bad. And then you get caught up because then you're still young. So then, you think you're in love. So now it's like, now it's like, okay, if he does this, then it won't be so bad. If he does this, it won't be so bad. But then, like, you caught up, you got quote unquote trained. So it's like, now I'm stuck. And then
it's
3 years later,
like pimp culture too.
Kind of.
Because that's what they do. Like, I don't know if y'all know that much about pimps and stuff. We're going to cut to a short break, y'all. I said we were going to be limited, but we are talking about this shit.
Yeah. I would just like to say, I told you.
I was like, let's limit our commentary to 2 minutes. 15 minutes later. But, like, with pimps, like, how they groom women is they'll start, or young girls is like, they'll start by making them fall in love with them. So they'll like wine and dine them. They'll be super sweet. They'll treat them really nice. And then once they're in love, it's just like, oh, try this for me. Like, if you really love me, you'll do this. If you really love me, you'll do that. To the point where they full live busting it down and handing over the cash for this nigga. Like, he's pimped you and you have no idea. Until you're deep in it. And I feel like that's what's happening to a lot of these girls. They don't realize what's happening until it's like too late.
Yeah.
Until you're on the floor naked, kneel down with your head down to the ground, calling him daddy.
Lord.
And what makes it worse though is the fact that some of these parents, like, he would pay out, like, first of all, like I said, I don't know what he's
Alleged.
Allegedly, he's giving, he's paying these people off, and like one of them was like $1,000. I'm like, really? Like,
yeah, I remember that girl saying that. Like, why?
$1,000.
That's what I'm worth, right?
For my 14-year-old daughter, like, no, like, that's what we're not. And then just keep $1,000 keep you hush hush. Like, no.
Yeah, and that's probably like another side of the story. The parents, like, people aren't really talking about that. But if you knew your child was involved with this man, why weren't you doing anything about it?
Because they knew it was him, and then they're like, they probably saw money too and said, well, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, people are weird.
Right. So we're going to cut to a short break. When we get back, we're going to delve more into sexual abuse, but we're going to go ahead and table this surviving R. Kelly topic. Tell us how you feel about it, what you think. Bring us your perspective, and we'll be back.
Weezy, let me know, let me know, me oju eleba, they know my story. From old dog studio, I be hustle to work.
Discussion on the Surviving R. Kelly docu-series that is going on Lifetime. I do believe there is one more part going on this evening, correct? Yes. All right, so now we're going to shift the conversation to sexual abuse.
Yes.
So I don't know exactly where you want to go with this, Aiah, because I can't say that sexual abuse is one of my favorite topics to talk about. So where are we going with this?
I mean, I just wanted to talk about specifically like rape and how it's treated in the Black community specifically. Of course, since we are Black women.
Yeah.
I can say from, I won't say my experience, but from what I know, typically it's kind of one of those things that's brushed under the rug. Kind of like don't say anything about it because you don't want to kind of bring shame to the family.
Yeah, I think the fact that you bring in the family element of it, I think is really important when you have the discussion about rape culture within the African American community, because like Black people, I love Black people. I love my people, but we're so like hypocritical sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I'm like, okay, there's this concept of loyalty, being loyal to people, and I totally get that, but it's like you can't, like, it's okay for someone's a disgusting person, a vile person, etc., if they're not in your family and they're a rapist. But then if you have someone in your family who's, even if it's alleged, like for me, if it's alleged long enough, and this is even kind of going to the R. Kelly thing, like there's some truth to it. Not everything may be true, like I totally understand it, but like the same thing can't keep coming up without there being something going on.
Something's going on.
But they've done so much for the family, and I'm just like,
no.
I don't know. It's just Black people are judgmental. Like that's definitely a flaw that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's sin is yoked equally. That's how I feel about it too. But I don't know. We don't do that. I'm like getting frustrated just talking about it.
Right.
Even like when I think to my personal experience, especially as Black women too. I might be kind of going off topic here, but I had an incident where I was at a party, like a kickback or whatever, hanging out. And everybody was drinking, and one of my friends, like, groped me inappropriately, like Donald Trump grabbed by the pussy, like, grabbed me. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know what you thought this is. I don't know who you thought I was, but you need to move your hands immediately, and how about you just don't talk to me for, like, the rest of the night?
Yeah.
So that's not even the upsetting part, When I addressed it with him, he was like, I was drunk. And I'm like, yeah, I totally get that, but that's still, like, inexcusable.
It's
like,
not okay.
Why are you trying to touch anyone like that at all? Like, But that's not the part that disturbed me. So when I went and took it back to someone else, I was talking to another female. And I was explaining to her, I was like, I was really, really uncomfortable. Like, he kind of touched me inappropriately. She was like, well, did you tell him that you didn't want him to touch you there? And I was like,
wow.
Did you have to?
Wow.
Yeah, that was my immediate thought after that's what I was told. So, and she was like, well, he's my friend. I've never known him to do anything like that. And I was just like,
wow.
That's
So that's why I say I get frustrated when we have these conversations, because it's like, oh, well, I know this person.
Right. Okay.
Oh, they would never do that. Blah blah blah. But I think it's something. I think it's rape culture in general, whether it's white women, Latino women, black women. But I think it kind of goes back to the whole black women in healthcare thing. People just, for whatever reason, don't believe us when we say things.
Right.
And I think that's just the main umbrella there. But no, so I've experienced it before, and fuck that. Fuck that shit.
I've seen a lot of, especially like since this documentary came out.
Yeah.
A lot of people are still like, not saying you have to bash R. Kelly, okay?
Right.
But there's still some people within our black community that are still like support. Well, I don't believe this. I don't believe that. And it's like, oh, it's because he's black. Oh, it's because. And I'm like, wrong is still wrong. Whether you, you know, and it's like then they want to bring out a long laundry list of all the white men who've done the exact same thing.
Right.
And it's like, but you gotta understand, R. Kelly still got, like, you, even though we're doing a documentary, R. Kelly still got off on those charges. So you can't. It's just weird to me how people are
caping for him, and
but had it been anybody else, if you did, you know, it's different.
Right.
But I will say one of the points that they did make in the documentary was that had they been white girls, that he was
this would have went a totally different way.
He probably would have had the death penalty. Okay.
Yeah, they would have made an example out of him for sure.
Right. But then I felt like okay, so they would have done something about it, whatever, and then everybody would still be supporting R. Kelly. But it's like I'm saying as far as the black community, it's like, oh, it's because he's black. But it's like, okay, but it's like now, okay, these are black girls, black men. So what's your excuse now? Like,
right. That's true.
That's if he did it, you know.
Yeah, this is all allegedly, but
that's just a mess of a topic.
Yeah, like Chadae was saying though, like a lot of times people, I feel like they always kind of somehow flip it back on the victim. And even like going back to what I said about how Naj felt like, you know, these girls should have known better, but it's like he should have known better. You're a grown ass man.
I think everyone has some accountability in it, but him as a grown man, it's unacceptable.
But I mean, when these girls look back and they're traumatized, and it's like, I don't know. I just hate when the person who is abused is somehow kind of made to be the bad guy.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Especially when they were so young and naive, and they thought this is kind of like you said, the casting couch. This is what I'm supposed to do if I want to make it. A lot of the girls that he tends to, allegedly brings on targets are girls who are singers, who like are trying to have a career, and he kind of sells this idea that their involvement with him will get them there, and they realize they're just kind of trapped in this situation.
I kind of want to get into the mind of him though.
I do too. I really do. Everyone that spoke to him musically said that he was like.
I'm scared to look him in the eyes.
They say he was a musical genius, so I'm like, I do want to understand what is going on in there. How you went from this really shy, timid, someone staring at you would make you burst into tears kid, to this like overly confident, air humping on stage, apparently womanizing like person. Like, how did you
present yourself as like God or something?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about like what influences like his songs and stuff, man?
Like what? Like how it inspired.
On the show, they were saying that the girls were like, when this song came out, like I used to feel like this song was about me. When this came out, I'm just like, this is fucking disturbing.
Yeah, very much so.
So I was thinking bump and grind.
Right.
Yeah.
And they riding on 14-year-olds.
And the fact that he was the mastermind behind Aaliyah's "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number," like looking back on that, I'm like,
that's wildly.
And then somebody posted like, I never realized, which I've noticed, but like I never realized that he's in the background of like the picture.
Really?
Like,
yeah.
He's just looking like. Yeah.
No, I got an even hotter take for y'all. So in this old song, y'all know he was in Public Announcement. That's the name, right? Public Announcement?
Girl, I couldn't tell you.
Well, love this song. It's a great song called She's Got That Vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, in the end, he's like, listed off these girls by name. Sabrina's got it, Rita's got it, whatever.
Yeah.
Little cute Aaliyah's got it. I said, oh no.
Oh, no.
And this song came out in like 94. Maybe. It's like it's a really old song, and I'm like,
The Girlfriends Podcast brings fun, informative, and authentic conversations to the table to shed a positive light on Black women and remind us of just how amazing we are. Tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. on 72.9 The Voice.